Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome to another Python tutorial video. My name is Jay. In this video, we'll create a PDF merge utility using PyQt5 framework in Python. So let me just give a quick demo on what we'll be creating in this video. So here's the application we'll be creating. So this is going to be a pretty long tutorial video. I think at least 1 hour. And since we'll be building the entire application from scratch, as well as how to package the Python application using PyInstaller, so we can create the executable file, which allows you to distribute the application to other users. So from this application, we have an input field, which allows you to provide the file path where you want to save the file. And below the input field, we have a list box that you can drag and drop PDF files to this field. So here, let me do this. Here I have a sample PDF files folder. And inside this folder, I have multiple PDF files. So I'm going to grab all the files, including this desktop.ini file. And I'm going to drag all these files to my list box. And noticing that the list box is going to accept all the PDF files except this non-PDF file, which is desktop.ini file. And unfortunately, one of the drawbacks is that when you drag and drop the file to this list box, the files are not going to be sorted. The list box is going to accept the file based on whether the signal that is receiving from my drag and drop action. So if we need to sort the file, we need to manually reorder the file using our mouse. So here, one of the functionality we'll be implementing is to be able to move the files inside the list box. And we can also delete the file. If I select file or multiple files, and if I click on delete, that's going to delete all the selected files. And I also have a couple of validations implement. If I click on merge, and currently this input field is empty. If I click on merge to attempt to merge all the files into one single PDF file, and because my input field is empty, so it's going to ask me where do I want to save the file, as well as to provide a file name where the output file is going to be. So I'm going to name this file test, just test, and save. Now if I click on merge, I'm going to get a pop-up message, PDF merge complete, and OK. Now if I go to the output folder, and here's the final file that where all the files are merged into one single file. And the last thing we'll be implementing is this reset action. So here, let me drag this test.pdf file. And if I click on reset, and that's going to empty out all the fields. Now I have shown you the demo, so we can now go ahead and learn how to create this application from scratch. Oh, and before we get started, so you'll need a PDF icon. So I download this PDF icon, which I'll be using as my window application icon. So open your Python editor and create a new Python script. And I'm going to name my Python script PDF manager.py. And you will also need to install PyQt5 library as well as PyPDF2 library. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to import all the libraries. I'll import the system module, OS module, and IO module. And because with PyQt5, when you package the application using PyInstaller, and some of the libraries is located, I think, in a different folder, so we need to fix that. So to fix that, this is the fix I found from Stack Overflow. So I want to insert if condition, and want to insert the has attribute function. And I'm going to just type the remaining of the code. So basically, we're just checking against the path environment variable, and to see if the path is correct. And if the path is incorrect, then we're going to reassign the path to the path variable. So this is the first fix. Now we can import our PyQt5 libraries. From the Qt Widgets module, I'll import QApplication, QWidgets, QLabel, QLine edits, QPushButton, and QList widgets. And for the layouts, I'll import QVBox layout, HBox layout, and grid layout. And for some other widgets such as dialog, so I'll import a QDialog class, and file dialog, message box, QAbstract item view. And that's it from the Qt Widgets module and from the Qt core module. And this should be capital P. Oops. I'll import the Qt class and the QURL class. From the Qt GUI module, I'll import the QIcon class so that we can set the icon to our window application. And to manage the PDF files from the PyPDF2 module, I'll import PDF file merger class. And I also have a couple of videos going over how to use the PyPDF2 module, so feel free to check it out, and I'll link the videos in the description below. Alright, so this is all the libraries we need. We'll be using quite a few libraries. And as I mentioned before, PyQt5 has some issues importing some of the libraries, as well as when you export your application that comes with some icon files. And some of the icon files, or I'll say data files, that those files cannot be located, and because some of the path that PyQt5 cannot find. So we need to address that issue by creating a function. And this function is credited to this user on Stack Overflow, Max. So Max provides this function to address the issue when you package your PyQt application. Some of the data files sometimes cannot get located by PyQt5 library. So using this function, that's going to fix the issue. Alright, so let's go back to the resource path function. And we're going to provide a parameter called relative path. And here, I have a typo. So we relative path. And I'm going to insert try except block. And we're going to check against the base path. So if this statement run into an error, they want to reset the base path to this should be absolute path. And we're going to provide the parent path of our working directory. Then we want to reference the OS module .path.join. And want to combine the base path with the relative path. And I'll show you how to use the resource path function later. Alright, for now, let's go ahead and finish writing the application. Here I'm going to create a class. I'm going to name this class as PDF app. And this class is going to serve as our template to create our application. And I'll pass QWidget class. Oops. QWidget class as the parent class. And we need a window title. So for the window title, we can name something like PDF file merge utility. And to set the Windows icon, I'm going to use the set window icon method. I'll insert QIcon class. And I'll insert the resource path function, followed by the ICO file, which is the icon file. So my icon file is going to be pdf.ico, and I want to just provide the file name, because when we package the application, and the application is going to look for the files and copy all the files or data files inside the executable program. And here I'm going to set the window size to 1800 by 800. Here I'm going to construct my Q application instance. And we can also use the application instance that set style, and here we can set the application style. And I'm going to set the style type to Fusion. Next, I want to construct my PDF app instance. I'll call this PDF app. Now, if I just save and run it, and here let's see. So here I have a typo. And here this should be lowercase r, and I need to activate my environment. So here let me use PyQt5. Let's see, and here I have a typo. So we have created the shell of our application, and so here's the PDF icon. Now we need to insert all the widgets individually. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create server classes to serve as the template to replace some of the PyQt5 widgets. And the reason is because I need to handle some of the events individually. For example, for the QList widget class, because we're implementing the drag and drop feature, so here I'm going to create a list widget Templar, and I'll pass the QList widget class as the parent class. And inside the Templar, we're going to have a parent parameter, and the parent parameter is asking for the parent object. I'll set the default value to none. And inside the list widget Templar, I want to set the accept jobs value to 2. And to increase the font size, I can use the CSS style sheet. And I'm going to increase the font size to 25 pixels. And to be able to move different items around inside the list widget, we want to set the drag drop mode to internal move. And from the QAbstractView class, we want to reference internal move value. And to be able to select multiple items, want to set the selection mode with QAbstract item view dot extend selection. The next item is we need to implement the drag and drop effect. And we need to handle 3 events. So the first one will be the drag enter event. And the second event will be drag move events. And the third one will be drop events. So inside the drag enter event, I want to insert if statement. And I'm going to say that if events.map data, I'm going to check the incoming signal data type. If the incoming signal has URLs, then I want to accept the signal. Otherwise, I'm going to return the event state to the parent object. So in this case will be the QList widget class. So this will be drag into events. And also need to supply the parameter. And for the drag move event, it's going to be something very similar. So I'm going to insert if condition. If my data has URLs, I want to set the drop action to copy. I want to accept the events. Otherwise, I'm going to return the event states back to the parent. So this will be drag move events. And the next one will be the drop event. I'll insert the if statement. So if events.mapData has URLs, I want to set the drop action to copy action. I want to accept the event. And at this point, we want to add all the files to our list widget. So here I'll create a list. I'm going to call the list PDF files. I'm going to iterate all the items from the receiving signal. So I'm going to say that for URL in events mapData.urls. And this statement is going to return a list. So I'm going to insert another if statement to perform the validation. So I'm going to say that if URL is local file, they want to convert the value to string. And since I only want to accept PDF files, I'm going to use the ends_with method to check against the file type. And if the file type is PDF file, then I want to append the file to my PDF files list. So url.toLocal file. Now we can add all the files to our list box. Otherwise, we're going to return the event state back to the parent. And that's it for the list widget template. Now we need to create a template for the line edit widget. And I'll name this class output field. I'll pass the QLineEdit class as the parent class. Here I'll create an attribute to store the height value. And I'll set the height value to 55. And for the font size, I'll use the setStyleSheet method. And I'll set the font size to 30 pixels. And to set the line edit height, I'll use setFixHeight method. And I'll provide the self.height value, which is coming from this self.height attribute. And because we also need to implement the drag and drop feature to our line edit widget, we need to insert the drag enter events, as well as the drag drop events. Actually, this should be move, drag move events and drop events. And again, so we're going to check if the signal mapData has URLs. And if it does, then I want to accept the signal. Otherwise, we're going to ignore the events. And the reason why I'm using events.ignore is because we're not changing the behavior of the QLineEdit widget. We're simply just inserting the file path. First with the list widget, and because we're performing some of the other functions such as selecting files and move different items within the list widget, that's when we need to return the event states back to the parent class. And for the drag move events, so if events.mapData has URLs, then I want to set the drop action to copy action, and I want to accept the events. Otherwise, I'm going to ignore the events. For the drop events, so here I'll insert another if condition. If mapData has URLs, Then I want to set the drop action to copy action. And I want to accept the event. And lastly, I want to set the value to my line edit widget. So here I'll say if events my data dot URLs. In case if I'm doing the file drag and drop action with multiple items, I only want to accept the first item. So here I'll type self.setText event.myData URLs. I only want to insert the first item to local file. Otherwise, I'm going to ignore the events. The last template I want to create is the push button template. And I'll name the template button. And I'll pass QPushButton as the parent class. And we're going to have a parameter to set the label text. So inside this template, and we can reference the set text method to set the label. And for the font size and button width and button height, I can provide a CSS style sheet. For the font size, I'll set that to 30 pixel, and for the width, I'll set that to 880 pixel, and for the height, I'll set that to 50 pixel. And that's it in terms of creating all the templates. Now let's go back to the main class, which is the PDF app class. To insert all the widgets, I'm going to create a function to do that. So I'll name this function or method init UI. And here I'll call the init UI method. So I'll start by creating 3 different types of layouts. So the first one will be the main layout. And the second layout is going to be horizontal layout. I'm going to name the layout output folder row. So here let me go back to my application. It was here let me see. Oh, it's right here. So if we look at the application, this application actually has 3 rows. So the output folder row is going to be the first row where we're going to insert the input field as well as the push button. And it's going to be a horizontal box layout. And to organize the buttons, I'll create another horizontal layout. I'll call this layout button layout. And because the list widget is on its own, so we don't actually need to create a layout to organize the list widget. So we can just insert the widget directly to the main layout. And here I'll create my input field. I'll name the field output field, actually output file. And it's going to equals to output file. What's the class name? And it's going to be output field class. And we're going to add the input field to the output folder row layout. Add widgets. And we'll add the output file object to the layout. And the next item will be the file browse item. So I'll name this button self.button browse output file. This equals to button. I want to provide a label text. So I'll insert ampersand symbol to provide a shortcut. And I'll name the label save to. And we can add the widget to output folder row layout. And here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these two layouts to my main layout object. So from main layout.add layout, I want to add the output for the row and for the button layout. I want to insert the button layout object, and here I need to set the layout with the main layout object. Now let me just launch the application to see what the window looks like. Alright, so here's our input field and our push button. We have completed the first row. Now we can create our list box widget. I'm going to name the list box widget PDF list widget is equals to list widget, and we need to provide a parent object. Now go back to the main layout, and I want to add the list box widget. Now let me take a look. Oh, so here's a typo, and this should be extended. Now looking at this application, we're just missing the buttons. So let's go ahead and create the buttons. So let me do these buttons. So we have 4 buttons: delete, merge, close, and reset. So I'll create the delete button first. So I'll name this button self.button delete select is equals to button. And for the label text, I will enter delete. And I want to add the button to my button layout object. And because by default, when you insert all the buttons to the button layout, the layout is going to look at all the buttons all together to fill the entire area. And because I want to leave extra space on the left hand side, so I'm going to do is I'm going to insert the column index. In this case will be 1. When you insert a column index, PyQt5 is going to assume that you're going to have 2 columns inserted inside the this button layout. And we also need to align the buttons to the right. And the next button will be the merge button. And for the label, I'll type merge. And I'll add the button to my button layout object. And this time we don't need to provide the column index or the alignment. And the next button will be the close button. And because to close the application, we can directly reference the QApplication class. It should be self.buttonClose.click.connect. We want to reference the QApplication class.quit, and this will close the application. And want to add the button to the button layout object. Alright, so the last button is the reset button. And reset. and I want to add the button to the button layer object. Alright, so let's take a look. And here's our complete UI. So here, let me make a copy of this line right here. And I'm going to comment out this line. I'm going to just simply remove the column index and the alignment value. Now if I launch the application, the button layout is going to resize all the buttons to fill the entire space. And if you like this look, then you can just leave everything as it is. And for me, I like to have a little bit of space on the left. Alright, now we have finished creating the interface. Now we need to create different methods to address the button's functionalities. So the first button is the delete button. And I'll create a method, and I'll name this method delete select. I'm going to insert a loop, and I'm going to say that for item in self.pdf list widgets select items, and I'm going to reference the pdf list widgets that take item, and this method will remove the item, giving the item name. So from self.pdf list widgets .row, I want to grab the item value. And the next button is the merge button. I'm going to skip the merge button. I'm going to create a method to connect to the reset button. I'll name this method clear queue. And all we need to do is we just need to reference the pdf list widget .clear, and this will clear all the items on the list widget. And for the output file, which is the input field, and we can just set the text with empty string. Okay, let's see. So the next method I want to create is the dialog message method. So this method is going to create the pop-up message using the QMessageBox class. So we're going to have a parameter called message, and which is the text that I want to display. And inside the dialog message method, I want to create my QMessageBox object, and I'll reference to the parent. And for the dialog title, I'll just name something like PDF Manager. And for the icon, I'll use the information icon. And now we can set the text with the message. And to show the dialog, we'll type dlg.show. The next method I'm going to create is to create the file dialog window, allowing users to type the output file name. And I'll name this method _get save file path. And I'll insert the QFile dialog class that gets save file name. The first parameter is asking for the parent object, and for the dialog title, so I'll just name save PDF file. And for the default directory, so I will provide the working directory using the OS module that get cwd. And for the file type, it's going to be PDF file. And because this statement is going to return a tuple, and the first element is going to be the file path, So I'll name the file path file save path. And the second element, I believe, is the extension type. So I'm just going to insert underscore as a placeholder. And then I want to return the file save path value. Now I can create my method to link to my merge button. And I'll name this method merge file. Inside the merge file method, I'm going to insert if statement. So if not, self.output file .text. So I'm going to say that if the output field is empty, then I want to open the file dialog. And to do that, so here I forgot one more function. So here let me create a function, and this method is going to be named as populate file name. So here I'm going to insert the get save file path method, and to generate the file path. And if the file path is not empty, then I want to set the output file with the file path. Now I can call the populate file name method and exit out the function. Otherwise, I'm going to insert another if function, and this time I'm going to check against the list widget count. So if the count is greater than 0, then I want to perform the PDF merge. And I'll name the object PDF merger is equals to PDF file merger. Now I'm going to insert a try except block, and to display the error message, I'll use the message box, and I'll supply the error message. And inside the try block, so I'm going to individually merge each PDF file. So I'm going to say that for I in range, self.pdf list widget.count. I'm going to reference the PDF merger object .append, and from the self.pdf list widget .item, want to provide the index value .text. And once that's finished, we need to create a file. So from the PDF merger object .write, want to give our output file name. So we'll grab the input value, which is going to be a file path. So this will be self.output file .text. And I want to give a message box PDF merge complete. And if this validation fail, then we know the queue is empty, so we can say that queue is empty. Now we have created all the methods that link to our buttons. So let's go back to the init UI method, and let's link each method to our buttons. For the delete button, .click, .connect, and want to provide the delete select method. And for the merge button, want to supply the merge file method. And the close button is already done. And for the reset button, I want to insert the clear queue method. And I think that's it. Right, so that's the entire script. And let me just do some testing to make sure that there's no error or anything. So let me launch the application. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to perform the file drag and drop to the list widget. Right, so this is working fine. And I'm going to select all the files and drag to my list widget. And that's working fine as well. I'm going to move the file to different orders. And that's working fine as well. And let me see if I can select multiple files. Right. And if I click on delete button, and that's going to delete all the files, the select files. And reset is going to clear everything. And if I click on save to button, oh, and this one is not working. Let me check. Save to. So here I need to connect the browse output file button with the populate file name method. Now let's take a look. So let's give it a try. If I click on save to button, and a dialog window is going to show up, and here we have the file type as PDF file only. I'm going to choose test.pdf, and that's going to populate the file path. And I'm going to select all the PDF files under my sample PDF files folder. And I'm going to click on merge. And here I'm getting an error somewhere. PDF. Oh, so this should be idle. So here's a typo. Let me try again. And if I click on merge, and because the input field is empty, the dialog window is going to show up and asking us to select a file name or create a file name. And I'm going to choose test.pdf file, and I'm going to overwrite this file. And click on merge, and PDF merge complete. Now if I go to my output folder, and it should let me do this. So here, let me close this window, and this one thing I want to add. So here I want to close the PDF merge instance. So after I finish writing the file, I also want to clear the queue. So here, actually not the queue, just the list widget. So I'll reference the PDF list widget .clear, and it's going to clear the queue after we perform the PDF merge process. Now I'm going to click on save to, and this time I'm going to name the file to something else like final PDF. And if I click on merge, and because the queue is empty, we're going to get this queue is empty message. Now let me select all the PDF files, and I'm going to perform the merge process. Now if I go to output folder and click on open my PDF final PDF file, and here's the final file. Alright, so we have officially finished creating the application. Now we need to package this application to an executable file. So to do that, here I create a spec file. Let me just copy paste the file over. And also provide the link to download the spec file in the description below. So here, let me open the file, and this is what the spec file content looks like. Here's the Python file name, and make sure that the file name matches to the main Python file name. So my main Python file name is pdfmanager.py. So I'm going to just copy the file name and just replace over. And for the path.ex parameter, we need to provide the directory where the files are located. So I'm going to copy my working directory, and I'm going to just replace this directory. And the data parameter is asking where are all your data files are located. And the data parameter is asking, please provide me with all the data files. And since the only file I use is the pdf.ico file, which is the icon file, so I'm going to right click. I'm going to copy the file path, and I'm going to place over. And make sure that it's double backslash. So here I'll insert another backslash. And notice that this is actually a tuple. So the first element is the file source, and it's going to be a single quotation outside the file name. And this is the destination folder. And pair means that we're going to copy this file to the root directory of the application executable file. And let me take a look. And here's our app name. In case if you want to rename the app, so here let's say I want to rename my app to PDF merger utility JJ. I can name that using the spec file. And the icon is when you package your application, do you want to use an image to display the application icon? And I'm going to use the same icon here. So I'll grab this icon path, and I'll just copy paste over. And so that's it. Now launch your command prompt. And because I'm using a virtual environment, so here let me activate my environment first. Oops. And let me change my directory to my app folder. It should be C drive. Right. So what we need to do is we have the spec file, and make sure that you have PyInstaller installed. And to package the application, we want to use the command PyInstaller. Then want to type the spec file name. And because my file name contains space, so I'll wrap the file name with 2 double quotations. So it will be PDF space merge utility .spec. Looks like the process is finished. Now if we look at our working directory, one folder is all the files that is used to create the executable file. And the other folder contains just a single executable file, which you can distribute to your users. Now let me close the application. I'm going to double click this file to launch the application. Now I'm going to just quickly test the application to make sure that the functionality works. I'm going to grab the sample PDF files. I'm going to select a file name. I'm going to name the file test3 and merge. And open the file. And here's the file. So this is everything I want to share in this tutorial, and hopefully you guys found the video useful. If you want to download the source code, I'll provide the link in the description below, And also, if you just want to download this utility tool, and also provide the link where you can download this application. So this is everything I'm going to cover in this video. And as always, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video.